Ontario residents are now canceling their trips to the US to get back at Donald Trump. That's right, Ontario residents are now boycotting travel to the US, along with the boycott on American products and services, with people online saying if they hurt my country, I don't see why I should spend my money there. Many Canadian businesses are also exploring alternative international markets to reduce US travel, as Trump announced tariffs on steel and aluminum on Monday and vows to put tariffs on all Canadian imports next month.
You know, it's hysterical, the MAGA response to Canadians boycotting American products and canceling their trips to the United States. Well, we're not going to buy Canadian products. Honey, that's going to be hard because you can't even identify Canada on a map, let alone Canadian-made products, so good luck with that.
She's got a point, though, and it's funnier than she even realizes. We'll boycott Canadian products. Okay. Do you even know what's Canadian? Tim Hortons? Canadian. Lululemon? Canadian. Canada Goose jackets that half of y'all wear in winter? It's literally in the name. Come on now. That's like threatening to boycott water while standing in the rain. You don't even know what you're fighting against. And Canadians aren't being petty here. They're protecting their economy. Meanwhile, MAGA is rage posting about products they can't even identify. The energy is giving, I'm going to hold my breath until the ocean apologizes. The ocean does not care about you, bro.
Spending the rest of my life in Canada, and who knows if I'll ever even have the right to re-enter the United States at this point.
Okay. I'm laughing because that man's name is Chris Landry, and he is a chunky milk supporter who moved here from Canada at 4 years old, committed crime, left the country, and then tried to come back in. And they said, hey, girl,
don't come back or we will detain you.
But keep in mind, this man is a chunky milk supporter who clearly said that anybody who is an immigrant here who has committed a crime has to get about the country and can't come back in.
I was definitely, all for Make America Great Again and having a strong, unified country.
And that's what you got. And your wife voted for it. The mother of your children voted for this. And because of that, it affected you. But the thing is, you thought it wasn't going to affect you. You thought you would have been safe. You thought you wouldn't be someone being affected. Just be grateful that you're not sitting in Alligator Alcatraz right now, or El Salvador, or one of the other detention centers where there are maggots in food, children fighting adults for clean water, no sanitation, no access to religion. Don't come out here crying and all sorry, I may never get back into the United States of America. You didn't care about that was going to happen to the other people who didn't look like you. I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for you at all. Sounds like you kind of got what you deserved.
Man, she went all the way in on this one and didn't miss a single shot. This dude, Chris Landry, was out here cheering for mass deportations, waving the flag, screaming about kicking out every immigrant who ever jaywalked. And then the same policy knocked on his door. And suddenly it's a tragedy? Suddenly it's unfair? Nah. You don't get to be the guy throwing rocks and then cry when one bounces back into your face. There is no except for me clause in these policies. There never was. His wife voted for it. He supported it. The whole family was in on the deport them all energy until them all included them. That's not bad luck. That's a self-inflicted wound with a weapon you helped build.
MAGA has decided to boycott Harvard. Now, in case you didn't realize, 50,000 people a year apply to Harvard. Only 5% of that actually get approved or accepted into Harvard. 100% of MAGAs get rejected every single year. In fact, so Harvard is being boycotted by a group of people that Harvard wouldn't allow in, which is funny because this administration has a group of people that have never been allowed to go to Harvard, and they are boycotting and trying to cut fundings to Harvard as well. And it's hilarious because a lot of other countries' leaders have actually gone to Harvard, and most of the people that go to Harvard at least know what habeas corpus is or understands how the Constitution works. So I'm feeling a bit upset here.
Hold on. MAGA is boycotting Harvard with a 5% acceptance rate? This is like me boycotting my ex's wedding that I was never invited to, bro. You were not on the list. Half of these people couldn't spell habeas corpus, let alone define it, and they're boycotting an institution that produces Nobel laureates. What exactly are you boycotting? The rejection letter you never even got.
I would like to point out something, that although our tangerine waffle in the Oval Circus is a bit crazy, how crazy is it? He actually pointed out that Putin is actually out of control. Here, just read this really quick. So all I'm saying is that when the crazy starts to be the sane one, we are definitely in a time of apocalyptic era. What do you guys think? Please leave a comment and repost, because I'm starting to shit a proverbial brick here.
So Donald Trump is now requiring tourists who wish to visit the United States to pay a $250 visa integrity fee. Yes, I'm dead serious. Under the big budget bill that Trump recently signed into law, tourists from around the world who want to travel to the United States, who want to spend time in the United States, will likely have to pay a $250 fee on top of their airfare, on top of their lodging. This may or may not get reimbursed depending on certain qualifications, but the fact of the matter is tourists around the world are now facing an additional $250 to travel to Trump's America. And by the way, that's going to bring tourism down for the United States. That's going to hurt our economy, and likely other nations may increase their visa fees as well to counter Donald Trump, and this may make traveling more expensive for everybody. Turns out traveling is only possible if you're part of the wealthy elite.
$250 just to look at America? That's like a restaurant charging a cover fee before you even see the menu. Family of 4 from Germany wants to visit Disney World. That's an extra $1,000 before they've booked a single flight. You know what $1,000 buys? A beautiful vacation somewhere that doesn't charge you for the privilege of showing up. Every tourist dollar multiplies through the local economy, hotels, restaurants, shops, Uber drivers. And now we're putting a paywall on it like America is some premium streaming service nobody subscribed to.
$250 may not seem like a lot, but that's $250 more dollars that you now have to pay to travel to the United States.
36% of Canadians who had planned a trip to the USA have already canceled their trip. This is making their bookings down by 70%. Let me tell you how much just Canadians alone spend in the US in 2024. Look at this number. This is just one group of citizens boycotting their trips to the USA because of Trump. This is an ongoing number. It is only July 25th. It has gotten progressively worse every single month. Did you know that tourism is expected to lose approximately $29 billion just for the year 2025? A lot of tourists are citing, quote, "they will not come here until he is out of office," end quote. That could be a devastating, catastrophic loss for the next 3.5 years. Did you know that we are being boycotted by every country in the world? Drop your comments and questions below.
Can we just absorb that number for a second? 29 billion. That's the hotel worker in Miami getting hours cut, the tour guide in New York who can't make rent, the souvenir shop in San Francisco closing its doors forever. These are American jobs disappearing because tourists don't want to come here anymore. And for the people yelling, "we don't need tourists," who do you think serves those tourists? Americans. American waitresses, American drivers, American housekeepers. When a Canadian family spends $5,000 at Disney, that money goes into American pockets. You're not punishing foreigners, you're punishing the working class you claim to fight for. 29 billion times 3.5 years? Do the math, I dare you.
Joy-Ann Reid has basically like a monologue about why MAGA is so angry and what her theory about it is, and it is so good. It's long, but so worth a listen. The basic gist of it is that they're getting everything they want. They're getting everything they want, and yet they're still so angry. And why are they so angry? My personal theory is that because they just desperately want the libs and the people of color to be sad or mad, and they're not getting that satisfaction. Joy's theory is that they want us to thank them. They want us to think that they've actually done literally anything good for this country, and they want to be thanked and they want to be admired, and we're not giving it to them. You can see that in my own treatment on this app because I laughed at the concept of being reported to my employer for saying they weren't celebrating, they were recapping what he said. And that made people on this app so mad that I laughed at y'all that you went and tried to escalate further and further and further. You went to trying to threaten my husband, trying to threaten my children, trying to threaten my clients, trying to threaten reporting me to the bar, trying to give me death threats, telling me to look over my shoulder, calling me on my phone. Why? Because you want so badly for me to express fear, for me to feel hurt, for me to validate you that are currently on the side that is getting everything you want, but I won't give you the one thing you really want, which is for me to bow to you. It will never happen.
This right here is the part nobody talks about enough. They have the presidency, the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, everything, and yet they're the angriest people on the internet. Why? Because winning was never the point. The point was watching other people lose. Watching liberals cry, watching people be afraid. And when someone just laughs at them, refuses to bow, it breaks their brain. This woman had death threats, threats to her family, her job, her children, and she's still standing there smiling. That is what real strength looks like.
Hey, happy Tuesday. Do you guys know that MAGA is boycotting the NFL again? Isn't that crazy? Because Bad Bunny is going to play at the Super Bowl or whatever the hell. I just think it's funny because weren't they already boycotting it because Cap took a knee? So when did they get over that and start watching the NFL again? I mean, they've now boycotted the NFL, Carhartt, Nike, I don't know, they were burning all their clothes and shit, but they're in an outrage because Bad Bunny is playing at the Super Bowl. So why? What did he do to them? The color of his skin? I mean, it has to be. But if it was Taylor Swift, then they'd be boycotting still because they hate Taylor Swift because, you know, she has so much influence on people. But I just, you know, if you're gonna boycott something, boycott it and be done with it. You just boycott it until, you know, when it fits your narrative or whatever, and then all of a sudden, woo woo, now we're gonna watch our favorite team play football again. Oh shit, some guy with brown skin, she's flipping us off back there, I think. Some guy with brown skin is gonna be doing halftime at the Super Bowl. Better boycott it. Get your shit together, you stupid assholes. Good God. You spend too much fucking time boycotting shit because it doesn't fit your fucking narrative, because you're racist and you're homophobic and you're just a fucking asshole.
The NFL boycott is genuinely the funniest recurring saga in American history. Boycotted because of Kaepernick, came back. Boycotted again, came back. Now boycotting because Bad Bunny's doing the halftime show. Bro, this man has 60 million monthly Spotify listeners and boosted Puerto Rico's economy by $400 million. Your boycott is a mosquito versus a windshield, and we all know this isn't about the music. It's about a brown man with a Spanish name headlining America's biggest stage. Just say it.
So, on that happy Tuesday, I just wanted to come and say that. That's all. Love you guys. Bye.
So I heard that MAGA's boycotted the Super Bowl because they are mad that Bad Bunny's doing the halftime show, and that makes me laugh because it really exposes the kind of bubble that MAGA lives in. I mean, even if every single person in MAGA boycotted the show, he's still set to break every single record for streaming, because that man alone boosted the Puerto Rico economy by $400 million in like less than a month with just his residency there. They are so outnumbered, and they're about to realize.
Canada and the Canadian people, your boycott on tourism in the United States, explained right now. Canada and the Canadian people, let's do some hard numbers. Last year, 2024, you brought in $20 billion in money to the United States with your tourism, okay? And purchasings of stuff around the tourist industry. That's a lot. Whether you're talking about going into different national parks, you're talking about going to Disney World, anything. $20 billion last year, okay? What does that look like in the practicality? That was 140,000 jobs that were created to support you guys coming into the continental United States. What does that look like as far as we had 20 million Canadians coming into the United States. Now, I've been posting about Canada and the outcome of the boycott, and I've had hundreds of people commenting about how they're traveling to other countries to spite the boycott and make sure they didn't spend their money in the United States. Canada, please comment,
Guys know we are set to lose $31 billion, $31 billion in tourism alone in 2025. This MAGA Republican today, still on October 10th, who is a travel agent apparently, is still going hard for Trump, even though farmers are begging, absolutely begging for help, and they have sold $0 in soybeans because Trump ruined our trade with China. Did you know Canadians spend $20 billion a year coming to the United States of America? But wait, that $20 billion creates 140,000 jobs. But this travel agent, this MAGA travel agent, on October 10th, despite the fact that the Republicans control the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the Supreme Court, blames the Democrats. Quote, "Smart people don't like me," end quote. Donald J. Trump.
A MAGA travel agent, still going hard, while tourism bookings are down 70% around her. That's like being the DJ on the Titanic going, you know what? I think the acoustics actually improved since the flood. And she's blaming Democrats when Republicans control every single branch of government. Who's making the decisions? Who's signing the orders? At what point do you just look at the person in the chair and go, maybe it's him? The mental gymnastics here would qualify for an Olympic medal, honestly.
If you think Donald Trump and the United States is winning right now, you're absolutely wrong. You need to go read some real articles and news from other countries to see what's really going on. And there is a massive movement taking place against the United States, which is going to further isolate us from the world. And what's going on right now is don't vacation in America, don't shop American, don't buy American, buy Canada, buy Europe, buy any other country other than the United States, China, Russia. Like, we're grouped with them now. People don't want a vacation here. You know, a lot of our vacation rentals are from foreign tourists, and they're planning to take a break right now from vacationing to the United States. So let's see how that helps this economy. We are not winning. I just want to make that very clear. To all you MAGA people out there that think we're winning, we are absolutely not winning, and it's going to get worse.
Breaking news, guys. The Trump administration is planning on adding 36 additional countries to the travel ban list. These are largely African countries. 25 of them are African countries, friends. Some Caribbean countries are on this list in addition to Middle Eastern countries. The list includes countries like Angola, Antigua, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cambodia, Cameroon, Democratic Republic of Congo, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Egypt, Gambia, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Liberia, Niger, Nigeria, St. Lucia, Senegal, Syria, Tanzania, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and others. According to a memo that Marco Rubio sent on Saturday to U.S. diplomats in these countries, they will be given 60 days by which to meet new benchmarks that the State Department is given to them, because some countries had no competent or cooperative central government authority to produce reliable identity documents or other civil documents. For others, it's because of widespread government fraud. And then others had issues related to visa overstay here in the United States, which, by the way, every country has people in the United States who have overstayed.
36 more countries banned, 25 of them African nations. They're not even pretending anymore. If this was about visa overstays, you'd ban Canadians and Europeans too, because they overstay at some of the highest rates. But funny how those countries never make the list. Wonder what the difference could be. And here's what nobody's seeing. Every country you push away runs straight to China. Every bridge you burn, Beijing rebuilds with their name on it. They're out there building roads, signing trade deals, forming alliances, while MAGA is busy building walls and wondering why nobody calls anymore. China's playing chess, and we're over here eating the checkers pieces, calling it strategy.
Oh dear. MAGA is boycotting Harvard. They're boycotting Harvard.
This is the funniest shit I've heard in the longest time. That's like a conspiracy theorist blacklisting facts. They're out here howling, screw your ivory tower, while their leaders clutch Harvard degrees like they are life rafts. Harvard's endowment could buy their entire movement, turn their red hats into crimson hoodies, and still be able to afford a new dorm. They're ditching a school they couldn't find using GPS. They're trading Nobel laureates for ex-randos peddling lizard people theories. Because nothing says own the libs like swapping world-class education for a QAnon syllabus scribbled on a bar napkin or seen on Facebook. Wow. MAGA, you just keep surprising me, and I'm not very easily surprised.
Yeah, I don't know what Trump said or did to Canadians, but they don't like him. And they don't like America, for that matter. MAGA, not America. They don't like MAGA. As you can see, some Canadians said they won't shop here. They're not going to buy American products in Canada. They're not going to do business with Americans or come to America to do business. So basically, cutting off America altogether. All these Canadians responded back to me, and it's crazy that we've alienated our neighbor to the north that we've had good relations with for years, for decades, for no reason now, just because DJT wants to tax and tariff and scare and tactics, and it's ridiculous how we've alienated ourselves from the rest of the world. And in particular, MAGA is painting itself into a corner of the world, a tiny little corner of the U.S. and the world, to where they won't be able to come back out. The Chinese summit showed the rest of the world, 20 nations, came together in order to form a new union, a new way of doing business and conducting themselves without the Western influence, and in particular, without the U.S., most likely due to DJT. I don't know if it's because that man said Canada could be the 51st state of the U.S. or what he said, but why go out of your way to intentionally alienate the country from its direct northern neighbor when already you're alienating the U.S. from our neighbor to the south? Why would we paint ourselves into this corner of the world where we're alone with very few, if any, allies, and intentionally break down all communications, business, and relations with the rest of the modern world, to the point where North Korea is in China with Russia together, including India and Iran, and they're meeting to develop new currencies. They're trading technology, military weapons, oil, money. They're forming a new world without the U.S. I don't know if this is making America great again. I don't know if there's a plan or there's some type of goal to this, but to me it just seems like MAGA is getting painted into a corner, tiny little corner. Nobody's going to pay attention to it anymore. Those people will just be ostracized and left alone to their own little business. They won't be able to conduct business with the rest of the world. Nobody's going to reach out to them. Nobody's really going to care what happens to them. And it's amazing that they're too blind to even at this point see that what the POTUS is doing is not working. And why would you support what no one around the world is supporting? I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. But hey, again, I could be wrong. That's just my 2 cents. So it is what it is. Hopefully, God bless, we can get through this. But yeah, Canadians don't like America, and they definitely don't like DJT. And hey, I don't know.
So here's where we're at. $29 billion in tourism evaporating. Allies turning into strangers. 20 nations meeting without us. New currencies, new alliances, new trade deals. All happening in rooms America isn't even invited to anymore. And through all of it, MAGA is still angry, still screaming, still boycotting things that don't know they exist. At some point, you gotta stop blaming the mirror for what it shows you. This isn't politics, this is math. And the numbers are not adding up. Drop a comment, let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, share this with someone who still thinks tariffs are free money. Mind Mirror doesn't tell you what to think. We just show you what's already there. Peace.